dee da da ba 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 ba. Resume reviews until 2, then cool. Da 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 dee. Today's date is 4/19. All right. Alrighty, alrighty. Alrighty. Let's see. Let's go through some of the recent resumes. Okay, let's see if this one's redacted. Okay. Got our first one here. So this person says, fall 2024 CS new grad looking for SWE. Fall 2024 grad applying to new grad. Unfortunately, can I get a single interview even though we got 3 to 4 OAs, non-automatic? Okay, that's good. Oh, well, that's a good sign. And even though I passed all test cases, never heard back, I would like to get feedback on resume, see where I'm lacking. Point to consider. The first 3 experiences I have are at the same company, let's say X. I started there with a 4-month internship, but later it got extended twice. I started with 4 times, got extended twice, and each term was a different team. Okay. Okay. That's generally a fine way to put it down. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. You can definitely make it, like, for example, more clear. You can have a shared header, right? So let's just use blue today. So you can have like a shared header like you do here, and then indent these guys all in. So you don't need to repeat the same company name again. It's not really a big deal, to be honest. Doesn't really matter, but that's something you can do to improve the clarity at least. Anything? Oh, it's not really. Okay, so let's take a look. All right. Spearhead migration. Okay. Automatic safety pipeline, 70% code coverage. Okay. This would be good to quantify. That'd be good to quantify it there. Unit tests, I would say, not very exciting. See, like, I personally wouldn't say this is the outcome of unit tests. I wouldn't say unit tests enforce consistent coding standards, personally. That point feels a bit weaker. 2 interns discussing resolving blockers. This is fine. Okay, this is the most recent one. These are before. MVC-based RESTful API, Spring Boot, MongoDB, Postgres. Integrating MongoDB and PostgreSQL. Reducing latency by 82%. So this is another one of those relativity points, right? Reduce latency by a percentage, right? From what, like, what is your baseline? Is your baseline no MongoDB, only Postgres, or vice versa, or no database, or it's like it's reducing by 80%. Like, from what, right? It's from what. This part is not that. It doesn't say anything really if you think about it. Instead, if you don't want to provide if it's not for example an improvement, an adjustment that happened, you wouldn't say reduced it. You would say latency, and say minimize latency to an absolute amount of time, right? That would be an absolute measure instead of a relative measure, which you could more easily integrate for points like this. Integrated MFA, Spring Security, JUnit 5, another unit test. Okay, this is the same one again. Are these aren't back? Oh, these are back to back. Is this back to back? This is also it's like the entire thing. Okay, so you'd be for a year now. Okay. UI, the data bash should React, which break. Okay, so this part is not clear what's going on. You made a UI for a dashboard, and this caused more user traffic. Makes sense if it's very good. Architected the UI of the dashboard. So this is part. So again, this is where the adjectives don't make sense. So before this, if you use the word architected, that means it wasn't made before then. So what are you comparing the traffic against? Like before there was no traffic? That doesn't make any sense, right? I'll use a better adjective than this. 35 components. Okay, so I mean, the main thing about these pieces of experience is that it's just all very surface level. There's nothing here that's really special, and these two data points, these two over here, kind of show me that like it's not very clear what's going on in terms of like how you're measuring actual improvement, or you're good at measuring it but you're not good at communicating it. That's also possible, obviously. The second thing here is that you've got 2 unit test points, right? You got 2 unit test points. Now, nothing wrong with running unit tests, but that doesn't really, like, writing it once already doesn't really say anything about your unit tests. So I would say if you really want to have unit tests, just pick one of these 2 and keep that one, and the other one you can use for something better. That's fine. Okay. Dates if possible, because this is now a little while. This is this is now a term ago. No, this is more than a term ago. This is like 2 terms ago now. Right, this is 2 terms ago now. So there's nothing newer in a resume than this thing, which is 8 months ago now. So you gotta have some dates here. Okay. AI social app. Okay. To improve significantly. So this is a qualitative measure. Where's the quantitative one? That's the one we need to see, right? MERN, Stack. What is this? Web app, team management, student ratings, improve office hours, scheduling, visibility. Okay. Essentially, have mongoose models for CRUD. Okay. Sure. Okay. I mean, I think the main thing here is just that all the content here is based on these 3 points, like these 2 pieces of experience, and it's just not very, like, everything here looks pretty surface level. So if you want to have, so there's 2 things. First of all is that if it's not surface level, you got to communicate it better. That's the first thing. The second thing is the most recent data point you have here is 8 months ago. So you need to have some recent projects to show what's going on. And better yet, if you can add some more recent projects to also show, for example, some more diverse technologies and whatnot, that would be quite a bit more leverage, I would say. Like these projects are fine. Like don't get me wrong, like they're fine, but they don't really augment this anywhere. Like for example, like this is, like, okay, yeah, like sure, it makes sense. Like it makes sense you would do this for a project, but it doesn't really demonstrate any skill, right? This is a duplicate of the point over here. Like this point over here with MFA screen security is just better than this point. So this point doesn't really add anything to the resume. Like, you know, think about it from that perspective. What does this point add in terms of the reader? Like what will they understand more or less of, right? Just something to consider. All right. Okay. Let's go. So let me see. We have a submission here. Let's look at it. Looks good to me. All right. So this person's comment. This resume is crafted to showcase a dedicated cybersecurity student with hands-on experience in threat analysis, pen testing, security tool development, highlight CTF participation, homeland projects, research, aligned team. Okay, not software development. Goals to demonstrate readiness for security roles. Okay. Okay. Okay, makes sense. Let's take a look. Results driven. Okay. 8.4 out of 10. Coursework: network security, cryptanalysis, cyber defense, operating systems. Okay. We have this is a couple months ago. Okay. comprehensive vulnerability assessments, 2 product, 4 web, and 2 network assessments. Okay. 7 critical RCE, SQL for this. Okay. Develop and implement effective mitigation strategies resulting in a significant improvement on overall security posture. Okay. Develop and implement effective mitigation strategies. This needs expansion, such as what? And the reason I say that is because it's 2 reasons. The first reason is because it's just good to say what's going on because it just has no information. The second thing is because I'm assuming of your critical vulnerabilities, these are the most critical ones, and that's while that's good to note, that doesn't really build into your second point, because these 3 are trivially solved, right? RCE, update your like update your library. SQL injection, don't use raw strings. I don't really know what this is, but this feels like an information leak or something. You know what I mean? Like these 3 don't feel like they need special tooling or advanced engineering to kind of get around. These 3 are just bumped up version. This is like don't use raw strings, right? So like these are like well known. These are not difficult to solve. I would say because this entire point is riding on your mitigation strategies, I would say you should specifically list out what they are. Because to me it sounds like these strategies are just bumped up version and don't use the strings. That's okay though. I think this makes sense. You were here for what? Oh, okay, so like 4 months or so. You're here for 4 months. I would say in that context, I mean, this is fine. I would expand upon this point a bit more though. So I would say okay, you conducted analysis. How? Like what sort of stuff did you do to do the analysis? Was it internal tooling? Was it external tooling? How much time do you spend making proof of concepts? Like that kind of stuff. How much writing documentation, that kind of thing. Like the stuff surrounding just like the uncovering vulnerabilities is also important there, I'd say. Okay, penetration testing, web application security, cloud security, tooling, some stuff here I don't know, doesn't matter. Okay, frameworks, okay, that's fine. Some certs, projects, okay. Honeypot, okay, good link by the way. Enriching threat feeds with real attack rate, TB, okay. Well, what? Streamlined threat detection, reducing incident response time 40% while significantly improving real-time threat, okay. Okay, that sounds pretty decent. I mean, this is one of those things where I would say this data point kind of is cool. I don't really know how you got there. So yes, you have a honeypot, you have some tooling to detect stuff. That makes sense. Improving real-time threat visibility and proactive threat hunting. Okay, so like these are just 2 keywords I don't understand. That's probably just me because I'm not in the security space. Okay, I can let that. I mean, I think that could be reasonable, but I would say this definitely feels a bit of padding right here. Improving visibility. Okay. Proactive threat hunting. Okay, sure. Cloud recon, Python script, blah 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 blah. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Makes sense. I mean, this feels like a small project though, but I feel like that's probably still okay. That's fine. Okay. 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 Toe. Okay. Bitguard. Okay. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, so one thing you said is that it showcase a dedicated student and hands-on experience. Okay, I see. One thing that I will say that is not here, that I'm not gonna try to infer, is I don't see your location. And I think that might be different. Like that might be relevant in the context of, for example, where you would be, expected to find job positions. I don't see cybersecurity resumes very often, and it feels like this one's a bit light. But if you can expand the experience more with more details about what you've done, I think that would be a good way to strengthen this resume. It's okay to not redact your university, right? Just a name and number email. Yeah, you don't have to redact your university if you don't mind it being shown. I mean, university by itself is not identifying information, so that doesn't matter to me. Okay, next. Aiming for infra eng, SRE systems. Those are very different things. Okay. Looking for new grad roles. Looking new grad or internship in the fall in terms of RO. Looking for also considering masters. I would not apply for a master's in infra, SRE, or systems. To add research experience. Research experience. Okay, I don't. What are you? I don't understand that. Why are you going for research if you're trying to get employed? Okay. Okay. That checks out. All right. Let's see. SLAs, global subsystems. That's nice. Configure outages, workload services, Kubernetes, leader election, coffee master, downtime. Okay, makes sense. Blah 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 blah. Makes sense. Okay. What is this? Azure rollouts, multi-cloud. Okay. ISC modules. Fine. Okay. Oh, you can do that. Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay. Cool. Blah 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 blah. Okay. Improve by 10 minutes. Okay. I will quantify it as like percent, but that's fine. Okay. Datadog. Okay. Oh, that's pretty good. Open search, proof of concept. Okay, nice. Okay, that was a waste. Okay. Stripe checkout. Enable product-led growth. Self-service integration. Okay, I would quantify that if you could. I mean, I know it's just too long ago now, but if you could, I would. Okay. Okay. That's nice. That's pretty cool. OS. Okay. Multi-kernel OS. Okay. In IPC. Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay. Okay. Maybe I'll trees faster. Okay, that's good. Okay. So a couple things off the bat here. So I don't know what this is supposed to showcase, this project. This is not infra, SRE, or systems. Or if you're using this to showcase C++ skill, I don't think that's super good way to showcase it. But I mean, I guess if you have nothing else to put in, that's okay. I think this project is substantially better, even if it is a school project, that's fine. But if you could expand upon this one more, that'd be kind of cool. A pretty easy way, by the way, to add points to this sort of project is to benchmark it. I know that's not part of coursework, obviously, but I think that would still be cool. In two ways. The first way is that showcases that you know what's going on with your own code, with your own project. And the second thing is that it gives you, say, oh, hey, it gives you clear next steps. If you were to improve it, what would you do? What are some considerations, etc. These OS courses are really kind of like mandatory based. I would say mandatory if you're going to systems kind of roles. So I think that's a pretty cool thing to highlight further. This is pretty cool. I think you can keep that one as is. I mean, it's not really SRE or systems, to be honest, but I think it's cool enough that you can put it in there. I would say if you're short on room, you can cut this down to maybe like 1 or 2 bullet points if you need to. But I think it's fine as is, really. These things over here, I'd say, are pretty decent in the context of, like, there's a lot of good infra stuff here, infra eng. SRE, I can see that being pretty reasonable as well, especially at the level of like new grad and internships. I think you're set on both of those. Systems, I would say, is still a bit shaky. There's not really too many systems kind of work here in terms of work experience. I think if you wanted to really target systems work, you would really have to expand upon this project a lot more. But for the other two, I think you're okay. All right. Okay, so this person says backend infra, big tech, Fang. All right. U of A, you can get rid of all of that immediately. Let's take a look at this. Okay, this is 8 months ago. This is right before that. And you had a term, and then you had some stuff over here. Okay, and then, okay. Okay, so a lot of C#. Okay. Okay, cool. Developed. Okay, wait. What are you? Are you intern or what? You are new grad 2025. Okay, you're new grad. Okay. Optimize Azure pipelines, PowerShell, YAML, just deployment from 20% to 199, so term improvements. Okay, you were here for 4 months, so this point is borderline. Okay, so this point's fine, makes sense. It's a bit air, but that's fine. This point, it feels a bit too whatever. Um, this data point's not that relevant. I mean, it's relevant. It's very relevant. It's not that impressive. I think if you can talk a bit more about how you analyze bottlenecks, that could be cool. Um, I feel like I don't know. Like in my experience, these kind of pipelines, like you just look at the log and see what it spent time on, and you just try to make that part faster. I feel like this is like kind of obvious. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something here, but this point feels just like kind of like an obvious thing. But I would expand upon at least how you did the analysis on this part, and like what you did to improve it. Implement a security basic OAuth protocols. Okay, this is fine. 4 months. Keep that. So to keep on, this is 4 months of work. So you got to make sure this is aligned on that. Utilize entry. Okay. KQL. Utilize to monitor API transaction flow. Create data with and create a dashboard return analysis and API performance. Okay. 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 Uh. Develop testing framework in Python. Validate hardware drivers. 10% reduction in driver validation time. Okay, that makes sense. That's good. Jenkins automation server. Jenkins to organize weekly regression tests across multiple BSPs. Okay. 4 hours per week. 4 months. You were. Okay. I would. So the thing is, the way you've written this is like not 4 months of work. I think you could definitely expand upon the first one more. So, I mean, I don't know if you can. I don't know how complex this is, to be honest. But at least you can talk about like what the testing framework is capable of doing and what the tests actually entail. I think maybe you can expand upon a little bit in that context, but add a bit more meat to this point. Otherwise, it feels like not very much. But I feel like this is at least the way you've written it is at least fine. It just doesn't feel like very much stuff. Um, okay, WebSockets, current request, bidirectional. I mean, I feel like this is pretty obvious. You can just get rid of that part entirely. Enhance system responsiveness by applying latency reduction techniques in Lambda. Controlling content caching, stick around with a balancing system. Okay. So this is one of those things where, because you're an intern and you were in what, third year, this would not be a big deal. But these kind of points, kind of like, it's one of those like sneaky kind of things that gives people insight into your level. You would never use Lambda if latency was a concern, like ever. But given that restriction, I'm assuming that's a restriction in how you had to do things. Given that restriction, I think these are reasonable strategies. And I like that you said you monitored this, right? So this isn't just random bullshit. This is like, okay, you actually looked at the data, it's like that, and you saw the improvement. So that part I like. This is fine. What is this? Geospatial, blah. Okay, that's whatever. All right, what's going on here? Projects. Oh, this is Steam. Oh, this is a game. Oh, it's a mod. Okay. Daisy engine script. I don't know what that is. A lot of downloads. Current players. Scalable multiplayer mod. I don't know what this is, but I guess that's cool. We got a lot of downloads. That's good. That's never a bad thing. Okay. So main thing here, right? You're going for backend infra, right? Backend infra. A lot of this is infra. That's I think you're pretty well set up for. Backend, I actually don't see much stuff. Okay, so for example, you have this, which is backend. You have implemented an API, security API. Makes sense. And you have one thing over here, which you can argue is between infra and backend, which is like performance improvements on Lambda. I mean, other than that, I don't see any back end here. So unless I'm missing something, like you might need to bolster this up with a bit of a project. So just consider that in your future project work or whatnot. All right. All right. Okay, this guy says. This guy said, what did he say? Okay, I want to target any software engineering and product management positions. I enjoy product management the most, though. Okay. Okay, let's see. This is recent. This is ongoing. These are all pretty recent. What is this? This is for a lab? Why is Agile there? Oh, you're going to PM. Okay, PM, you want to say Agile. Okay, I see. Six Sigma. Okay, you are really a PM. Okay. Well, the first thing I'll tell you right off the bat is if you want to do PM with this kind of resume, I would say make two resumes. Make an engineering resume and make a PM resume. That's the first thing I'll tell you. Okay, let's take a look. Boom, boom, boom. That's fine. Okay, how about this? Right. I saw it's a bit weird. I will put this underneath. Okay, yeah, put this in the PM resume. Okay, I would say put this in the PM resume as well. Analyze over monthly. What? Okay. Analyzed over to improve. Well, I mean, this one doesn't make sense. You analyze data points to improve. So what was the outcome? So what do you do? I mean, just looking at data points doesn't improve the experience. Like you have to look at it and then do something. So what did you do? Like this point doesn't make sense. Improve data. Okay, yeah. This is a big number. I would say how. Put in the how. KPIs. Okay, put this in the PM resume. Put this in the PM resume. What? Okay, this is a PM resume. Collaborating cross-functional teams to migrate pipelines, optimize deployments. Okay. Deploying a backend. Okay, yeah, these 2 points could become quite good. So you want to improve those as you get experience there. Yeah. Otherwise, there's too much PM stuff. If you put too much PM stuff in an engineering resume, no one's gonna look at it very seriously. So you want to make sure you keep those two separate to maximize your chances on each. Then that's a general tip if your two roles are too dissimilar. All right, last one before we have to switch to the mock interviews. Let me just message the person, make sure they're ready. Hey, I'll call you in a sec. Please do a sound check before then. All right, so let's take a look at this. So what did this person say? This person said, oh, I saw a comment. What are relevant courses? Because if I say get rid of relevant courses, it's because they're not relevant. If you have actually relevant courses for the job, then of course it's okay to keep. But most of the time, people put relevant courses. It's like software engineering, my guy. You don't need a course to teach you software engineering. Like you have a job for that, or you have experience for that, or you have projects for that. Okay, this one said looking for general. Oh my god, screw a whole ass paragraph. Okay, hold on. Looking for general suite. We'll probably remember your resume from past reviews. I probably don't. I'm sorry. And I think the resume is fine, but my callback rate is still ass. Honestly, right now in this market, it's not just you. So don't get too caught up on that. I think I have 300 plus apps, 6 interviews this term. 6 interviews. So that's after OAs, or is that including OAs? 6 to 300. I mean, that's 1 in 50, right? That's 1 in 50. Well, it's 200 plus, so like about 1 in 50. 1 in 50 callback rate for interviews is decent. If it's 1 in 50 for OAs, that's pretty poor. But 1 in 50 for interviews is decent, to be honest. heard back from some companies. I won't say the names here, but looks decent, pretty decent sized companies. Didn't like anything. Started story. Plan to get rid of my Java project from 210 to Club Experience. That's good. Summer plan rework full stack web app, desktop app, make them even better. Not sure what to do. Link general advice. Okay. Okay. So before I even look at the resume doesn't even fucking matter. Before I even look at that, the first thing I'll say is you said you heard back from some of these big companies. What does that mean? Like they scheduled for your interview? If you got scheduled for interviews at these companies you've listed, that's not really a resume problem anymore. That's an interview problem. Okay, like these sort of companies, you shouldn't be fumbling. Okay, so that's the first thing I'll say. That's not a resume problem. The second thing I'll say is, yeah, it makes sense to work on. I'll look at the product in a second. It makes sense to look at the projects, improve the projects. Of course it is, but you have to balance it. You know what I mean? Like you can't just be grinding projects for the resume if you already got interviews, right? If you're getting interviews, you should be grinding interview prep and not projects. Okay, so I don't know exactly what your situation is on that front, but you just got to realize that if you're already getting interviews, you should be grinding interview prep. Okay. All right. With that being said, let's look at your projects. So I don't care about any of that. Let's go look at this. So LaTeX, blah blah blah. Okay. So what you're saying? You said rework my full stack web app, desktop app to make them even better. Okay. So I would say, what are you doing again? You're doing front end or back end? What are you doing? What the hell's that? Look. Okay, you didn't say. Okay. So I'm assuming full stack then. So then all I'll say is, let me take a look at this. Blah 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 blah. Okay, this is fine. This is fine. I would say if you want it nice, what I would say really is make the front end really shiny, right? So put a bit more work in the front end, add some user quality of life improvements. That thing I would say would be very nice. The main thing is when I click on this GitHub over here, I want the README to be good, right? I want the README to look nice. I want it to tell me what's going on. I want it to look polished. So if you're gonna spend, that's probably take like 5 hours probably, like that's worth your time, right? And then you see you can improve the what? You improve the the 210 web app, full stack web app. No, that's different. Java project. This is this one. Yeah, just get rid of that. Just straight out the bat, get rid of that. And then the full stack web app. That's this one. Yeah. Okay. I mean, regardless, I think this makes sense. Keep it around. This is like more back end focused over here, obviously. Well, not necessarily. I don't know the front end, so I can't say, right. It's hard to describe that, but I think at least the back end you're describing here is pretty strong. But yeah, there's obviously stuff that you can continue to improve. So yeah, I mean the products or whatever. I would say focus on interview prep if you're already getting companies like you listed. That's the most important thing to make sure you're continuing to do. All right, that's all for resume reviews today. That's all the submissions we have. So I'm going to move over to the mock interviews now. All right, where the fuck's my login?
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. How you doing? Can you hear me? Uh-oh. Hey, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Alright, where the hell is my coder pad? Here it is. Is it working? Yes, it is working. Nice. Oh, hi.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's been good.
It's
How's
been
it
good.
going for you?
I'm doing
Yeah.
great, thanks. I'm just sending you a link here. You can go ahead and join that link. Be aware that the name you put in will be visible. And then when you're ready, we'll just kind of hop into it.
Yep.
All right, let me just double check. What we had. Like medium-ish today. That was what we're looking at.
Yes.
Okay. Sounds good. Let me see what a reasonable I'm gonna find a problem real quick. Let's see what we got.
Yep.
It's been a while since we had. It's been a while since we last had a mock. Right? It's been like a month or two now. Something like that.
It's been quite a long time
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
It's more like easy leak code problems. So that's why I want to change to medium now.
Okay, I see. Yeah, good to switch it up. Even if you don't do well, it's good to know kind of what you're comfortable with, what you're not comfortable with. So Makes sense.
Yep.
Let me find, what is this problem? Okay, this is an interesting problem. I can do this one. All right, so do you want to get started? Anything you
Yes.
concerned about it? Okay, we get started. All right, let's do it. So for this problem, I would like you to write me a function called print distance. Okay, and the input is going to be the input's gonna be the root of a tree. Okay, and you are going to print the value of all the nodes that are a distance k from this root.
Okay, print the value on the node that is in k from the root.
Yes.
Okay. So we have to write a functions. So the first questions that I have is that, so is this would be a binary tree or um a
No,
binary
not necessarily.
okay. So like it can be like n-ary tree, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. And so in this case I will assume that the root is always exists, right?
Yeah, you can assume it's not none.
Okay. Okay. So we have to print the value on the node constant k from the root. Okay. So let me jump to the drawing.
Okay.
So what is it? Okay, let's say we have a tree. So oops. Each of the value in the node, so they will contain positive value and negative value also, right?
Yeah, they can have any values.
Okay. So let's say we should have 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. And we need to print on all the values of the node at k distance. So I'm thinking about we can either do BFS traversal or DFS traversal to find the distance, the k distance from the root. So let's say if we traverse by layer by layer, let's say this would be the first layer and this would be the second layer and this would be the third layer. If we do BFS, we will start with this layers and then we go to the next level, to this level, and then it will call like BFS until the last level,
Yep.
which is the leaf node. Okay, let's say if we have this, the distance k now would be, a would be 2, right? So if k would be 2, we would need to print, so this would be, okay, this would be the 0 level, the first level, and the second level. So in this case, we would need to print 2, right? 2, 4, 2, 4, 5, and then also 2, 4, 6. So in this case, we would need to print 2, 4, 5, and then 2, 4, 6. Right? Do you think that I'm in the right directions for this approach?
Yeah, it's right. Yeah, that's in the right approach. Specifically, printing the nodes from distance k means that you print 5 and 6.
Oh, okay. Print value of the node. Oh, so we need to only print 5 and 6. Okay, got it. So let's just erase this. So in this case, we need to print 5 and 6. Okay. And let's say the case we only have one node. So if this only not 2, so if k would be 0, in this case we're just gonna return this, we're just gonna return 0, right? Because case would be 0.
Which case?
Or we can assume that k is had to be like greater than 0, greater than 1.
No. I mean, we can assume it's. I mean, k can be 0 or higher. So in this case, yeah, you would just print 2.
Okay, so in this case we would print 2. Okay. So yeah. So let me go back to here. So for the matching, use BFS to traverse the tree level by level to find the node that k distant from the root. And planning. So since we would need to use a BFS, so we would need to create a queue, and then we just while the queue is not none, then we just like process the current node. We need to check if the current, the left subtree is not none, the left subtree it's not none, then we just need to add to the queue. And if the right subtree is not none, then we also need to add to the queue. Before that, we would need to check if okay, we need to check the distance equal to k. So this will be order node that k distance. So that would be the last level. I am 6. Okay. So when we process the queue, so if the current level to k distance, then we just need to return the node values, right? So we just return that node. So oh, and one more question is that for the output, this would be the list of all the node, right?
This is the values, yeah.
So yeah, list of node values. List of node values. Okay, so do you think that the pseudocode makes sense to you, and can I start coding now?
Yep, that makes sense. But I want to just question exactly what's going on at the current level is equal to k.
So if I do like the traversal from the root from the first level until, like in this example, we will go from 2, and then it will process the left subtree up to that would be 3 and 4. So once we process this level, the second level here, since the node 3, there are no left and right subtree, so this would be the leaf node. But the k in this example, the k is 2. So right here at this level, k which would be only like 1, right? So we need to continue process to node 4. Here we go to the left subtree to process the node 5, and then go to the right subtree to process node 6. And here we will have the k that's equal to the k here would equal to 2 now. So it means that we print the values.
Okay.
So we will need to print the values of all the nodes here at this level.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
But I think before that we have to increase the k every time like we traverse through each of the level. So I will have to increase the. So if current level, I think here we will need to increase 8. return. Okay. Or this can be like this. We would have a function that called print k distance, and that would take in the root and then k, right? So for the base k, we would have to check if the root is not none, then if the root is none, then we'll just return return none. And then we need to initialize a queue, and then we append the root, the current node root to the queue, and then we process the queue if the queue is not none, and the current node would equal to queue of left. If current node left is not none, then we need to append current node left, the left subtree to the queue, and if the right subtree is not none, then we need to append to the queue. Current node right. When we're done with checking the left and right subtree, we need to check if we need to check if the current level equal to k. Maybe we would have to, so if we have the level size, that would be the length of the queue. Range level size, so we will process each level of the tree. If we here this the root k equal to 0, then we just return the current node values. So if we ask this level and then 3 and 4, and then 5 and 6. Length of the level. So we need to return this one. Okay. Level size length of the queue. So if current node value equal to k, and here we need to check if not in the current level is equal to k. So we need to check if the not in the current level is equal to k. Then we just need to return right, and then I think we would have to like increase the k every time we go to the next level to count.
Okay. What is the so for every node you're running a loop.
So I will traverse through each of the level, right? So this for loop will be in range of the level size. If so, let's say if we add this level with node 3 and 4,
Yeah.
so when 3 will pop out of the queue since there are no left and right subtree, so we will need to process the node 4, right? Node 4 have left and right subtree, then we would need to append 5 and 6 into the queue. And at the same time, we also need to check if current level, okay, we need to check if the of the node at the current level equal to the k distance. Then we just need to return the list of the node. So if the current node values, so this isn't correct, it should be the length. If the level size, so not correct because that would be the node values itself. It's not like the level. So I want to check the level, the current level. Okay, how do I check? Okay. So I want to check the current level is visible from this to, so current level size would be the length of the queue. So it need to check if the level size equal to k. Right, so if the level size equal to k, then we return
What
off the
is
node
level
from that
size?
level. So level size, it would be the length of the queue. So let's say here we have
And what is the length of the queue
queue
at
here
distance 1?
and the queue at distance 1. So that would be 3 and 4, right? So this would be 3, 4. We So we pop to that would be the first level. So if we pop to, then now we would have only 3 and 4. So 3 and 4, this would be side 2, right? So the level size for the k equal to 1, this would be 2, right?
Does the level size depend on k?
The level size depend on k. No, the level size would not depend on k. Hmm. So how do I track? How do I track at this level k equal to 3?
What you can do is, in addition to appending every node, you append its level as well. So when you append the root, you append root comma 0. Can you continue that?
Oh. Okay. So, that will be the root, and then the k distance. Okay. So for I in range. So if the current node equal to k, okay, so maybe we would have another variable called distance. And if distance equal to k, distance equal to k, then we return a list of current node values. So here we would have distance plus 1, and distance plus 1. We append the current node, right? We also need to increase the distance every time. Yeah, okay. Yep. If distance equal to k, return list of current node values, and then we process the left and right subtree. Yeah. So let me just run through the example again to make sure that the code working correctly. So right, first we would need to check so the root is not none, so we skip the if statement, and then we initialize a queue with the root and then the distance. So we would have the root is 2 and distance is 0 in the queue initially, and now the queue is not empty. We enter to the while loops. So we need to pop the current node, the tuple current node and distance out of the queue. So we pop to 0 out. And now the level size would be in the range of 1. Right, level size would equal 1, And then for I in range 1, we check the distance. So k distance is 2. So 0 is not equal to 2, so we skip this if statement. We will go to process the left subtree, which is 3 and 1, right? So we have 3 and 1, and we also have the right subtree, which is 4 and 1, the cube. Now we need to pop 3 and 1 out of the cube. So we pop 3 and 1. The level side now is 2. The level side now is 2. And now we need to check the distance. So the distance now is 1 not equal to 2. So we will skip this if statement. We process the left subtree and the right subtree of not 3, since not 3 doesn't have the left and right subtree. So now we will go to process not 4. So we pop 4 from the queue, and then we would need to add the children's, the left and right children's of 4, which is 5 and 6, to the queue. So oops, we would have it 5, and then the distance now increase to 2, and then we would have 6, distance also 2. The level size is now also 2. Now we need to pop 5.
Whoa, hold on. We're not done.
Cube.
Hold on. Wait, why are we popping 5? We haven't done the second loop yet.
Oh, wait. So
call this variable I. When I equals 0,
yep.
What happens? So you popped off. Let me look at your tree. Your tree is on 4, so you popped off 4, and then you popped off 4. This condition is false. These two are true. So you add 5, you add 6. That's what you just said. Correct?
Yeah, I add 5 and add 6.
Okay, great. And now I equals 1. Now what happens?
Now I equal 1. I equal... Wait, isn't it? So the level size is still 2, right?
Yeah. So I equals 0 and then I equals 1, right?
2. Yep, I equals 0. That would be the node of 5, right?
Sorry, say again? I equals 0, you added 5 and you added 6. That's these two conditions here.
Yeah.
Right? And so this ends the for loop. And then I go to the next iteration, so I equals 1 now.
So I equal 1. So we will need to process not 6 with distance 2.
No, hold on. We're still in this loop, right? This current node is 4.
Current node is 4. Yes. current node if for level side to I equal 2, but then the left and right subtree of 4, which is 5 and 6,
Yep.
right? 5 and 6. Then we would need to go to this if statement. So it will skip this if statement. So it at node 5, it
Yes.
process this statement at node 5 and then process this if statement process node 6 and
Yep.
append to the queue.
Yes.
And so that would be for I equal to 1, right? I equal to 1.
That'll be equal to I equals to everything, right? Like your logic here does not depend on I.
So do I really need this for loops? Level size. So right, I don't think I would need these for loops for the level side or
Okay.
yeah. So if I just because we just need to append the children, the left and the right children into the queue. I want this dash one. Yeah, so yeah, when we process to current node 4 and distant 1, right? We append 5 and 6
Yep.
into the queue. We append 5 and 6 into the queue, and then we pop 5 with distant 2 to process. Now we check this if statement. So the distance now is 2 would equal to k. Then we would need to return the current node values, which is 5. And this would be in a list node. Then we would need to pop node 6, which is the last one, with distance also equal to 2. And then we also need to return node 6 and turn the node into the list of nodes, right? I think that would be it.
So can you go over why you think 6 will be returned? Because you're returning 5 already over here.
Because in the problem statement say that we need to print or return the value of the node that distant k from the root, since 5 and 6 is at the same
Yes.
level that that distant 2 from the root, so we need to return off them.
You're not returning. You're only returning the first one.
Oh, okay. I only return the first one. how can I return not 6? Since we will go 2, 4, 5, and then 2, 4, 6.
How about instead of
I
returning
should be
this
the
list
same.
off the spot, you store it?
Oh, let me think. So if I can store, okay, if I can store it in a hash map, right? Let's say, so if I have a hash map, okay, we just go up here. Have a hash map. Right, the index. Okay, the index. It would be so a index and then the list of nodes at that level. So let's say node 2, we would have list. Let's say if we have the distance 0, distance 1, and distance 2. So at distance 0 we have node 2, and distance 1 is node 3, 4, and we have distance 2. That would not 5 and 6. Right, so the index, it would be the distance. So then I would need to retrieve the values. I would need to retrieve the values from the hash map. So that would be all of the node. Okay, so let's say if I have a map distance, right? We check here. We need to, okay, we need to check if our node distance in map distance. So if current node distance in map distance if it's not in, then map distance. So we would have equal to. Otherwise, if the distance in map distance, then we just need to append the current node and the current node values to the hash map. And okay, so and then we need to check if distance. So if we go through the value of this hash map,
Are we still returning here?
so
Is this still intentional?
if that's the case, I think we can replace this if statement with the for loops to iterate through the hash map, right? And then we just need to check the distance equal to 2, and then we just need to return the values of the hash map, right? So this one would need it. We would need to iterate. In mapped distance. So this would be items. If distance equal to k, right? We will need to return map distance values. Okay, so this would be current map distance. Yeah. Yep, so we wanted this one anymore.
Okay, so to wrap this up, can we just go to the time and space complexity?
So the time and space complexity, since we need to process the queue of the node in the tree, right? We need to process all of the node in the tree. So this is would be all of all of the node. So the time complexity is would be O of n. N is number of nodes in the tree, and then space complexity this would be also O of n.
Okay.
Since we do use a hash map, yes, to store all of the node for the level. Oh wait, I think if we sort the hash map, no, we need to sort the hash map in increasing order.
Was that a question?
I'm thinking if we need to sort the hash map, I don't think it's okay. I don't think we need to sort the hash map, right? Because the distance is already like we would need to go from the first level to the next level and then next level. So yeah. So the time complexity is would be O of n, and space complexity is also O of n.
All right. Let's go through some feedback then. Maybe before we then, how do you feel about the problem? Just a quick little summary about, how you felt and what you felt like the challenges were.
So the challenge was I wish I could ask more like clarified questions because didn't think about we need to store the tuple with the node value and the k distance in the queue. So at first I was just thinking about storing the node.
Mm-hmm.
And also while you mentioned about the hint and you giving out the hint for the hash map, and also yeah, you giving out the hint for the hash map, so that's why it's unblocked me for that one to thinking about it. At first I didn't think about the hash map.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this problem.
And let's yeah.
So this problem is a simpler version of the real problem. I'll read you the real problem first, and you can compare and contrast. Okay. So real problem is given the root of a binary tree, find and a node. So given a root and a node in the tree, and a level k, return an array of all values of nodes that are distance k from the target node. That problem is different from the one I gave in that the target node in that problem is not the root node. Okay, so that's a problem you can do in your own time later. That problem people will generally ask, in this context, will ask as a follow-up problem, because if you can't solve the basic one, it's very difficult to solve the full problem. So what do I say that? I say that because when you're going to an interview where you know they're gonna be asking LeetCode mediums, you have to realize when you hear the problem, is this a LeetCode medium? The reason that's important is because if what you hear from the interviewer is not a medium, that's not the real problem. The real problem is either going to be a follow-up, which makes it a LeetCode medium, or it's going to be a different problem entirely, and this one is just to be a warm-up. So that is something you have to keep in mind for when you do these problems, like in a real interview. Okay. All right. So with that out of the way, let's go through the actual problem that we solved here. So two things that I saw that were good from the start was that you drew examples and you were talking through your thoughts during the walkthrough. Now, there's two things that you have to keep in mind about certain things, about especially the walkthrough, is that when you have a plan, it's good to have one, but it's not good to stay with it blindly. There's many reasons for that, right? For example, in your plan, this is a bug because this can only return a list with one value, right? This can never be more than one value. And you return out of the whole function. So if there are more than, so like aside from the logic, like just looking at this as one line, you can tell that it's immediately going to be wrong if there are two or more nodes at the same level. This just cannot be correct, right? And that's okay. Most people will allow you to make mistakes in the planning phase, especially, but you have to realize when you're writing it in the actual code that it's not going to be correct, right? So that's when you have to sanity check for yourself. So yes, it's good to do the plan. Don't follow up blindly.
Yep.
We'll get to the map later. So about here, this is where when we start writing this down, this is good. This is when you got to start writing the BFS template. The BFS template, and I tell this to everyone. I'm not sure I told you yet. Okay, everyone should memorize BFS. It should take you a maximum 30 seconds to write a standard BFS, right? So the way you would consider to do this is like this. Okay, completely ignore the problem. Just completely ignore the problem and just write a BFS. Traverse the entire tree. Do not have if statements. Do not have else statements. Just traverse the entire tree. If you practice, that should take you 30 seconds max. Okay, like just memorize it. Memorize BFS. Memorize DFS. If you're starting to do more mediums, more hards, memorize Dijkstra's, memorize Bellman-Ford, etc. Right? But DFS and BFS, you have to be able to just write instantly. The reason to say that is because you cannot afford to get confused writing BFS without even considering the problem. Okay, so this is good. So you're starting a good track. Yet you had the BFS written. Okay, that's good. Now the next thing that you noted especially was that there's some consideration here for the level, right? That's what we have over here. Now this is just a trick. You have to learn it. I mean, this is the most easy way to do it. If you didn't know it, there are ways to track it. There are other ways to track the level. You can track the level in a variable, for example. You can track it that way. But it's like there's many ways to do it. This is the easiest way to do it. So you just have to learn it, unfortunately. Okay. The second thing about this is you first had it. So after you did this, you had implementation and you did a walkthrough. The walkthrough you did the first time was too slow. Okay, that was because you were drawing, you were drawing all this tree stuff and drawing the lists as you were writing them. That's not a problem. It's not a problem to draw stuff while you're walking through it. But if you notice that when you're trying to do the walkthrough, and you're talking or thinking much faster than you can draw it, don't draw it. Right? That's just wasting your time. Another way you can do it, for example, is by doing the walkthrough on the code itself. Right? So say, okay, Q. Right? So Q equals 2, 0. Right? And the next iteration, boom, this gets popped, boom, Q equals 3, 1. And then 4, 1. Right? So you can, if drawing's too slow, you can start writing, like typing instead. That's faster. But if you're realizing that you're drawing much slower than you're thinking and talking, then that's wasting your time. Okay. So be aware of that. That was really slow. The second thing that was a bit of a concern was that when you're doing the walkthrough, you didn't catch the bugs. Right? The purpose of a walkthrough is twofold. The first thing that you need to do is that you need to convince yourself that it's correct. And the second thing you need to do is that you need to convince the interviewer it's correct. If the interviewer and you both already believe it's correct, you should just ask, hey, do you still want me to do a walkthrough? I think this is fine. Right? Now, if you're doing the walkthrough, that means that either you don't think it's correct or you think the interviewer doesn't think it's correct, or both. Okay? So during the walkthrough, if you miss catching the bugs in the walkthrough, that is not a good sign. That is not a good look. Okay? And the two bugs that you missed in this case was that you missed that the queue size has no correlation with the level size, you called it, has no correlation with the depth, because it did not say it's a complete binary tree. I just said it's an arbitrary tree. And the second thing is that you were still you still have to return with the one item in the list, right? So you have to be able to catch these bugs in a walkthrough. If you don't catch bugs in a walkthrough, just save your time and try to go to the next problem, basically. Right? So you have to get good at that. You can't just be talking to logic. You have to actually think about what you're writing. Think about why it might be wrong, right? And the last thing I'll say here is specifically for what we have here, when the interviewer gives you a hint, you should really spend time to think about why they gave it to you, right? I'll give you a high-level reason. The reason interviewers give you a hint is because they believe that you can't solve it, or they believe that it'll take you too long to solve it. So they just don't want you to solve it anymore. Like they just want to give it to you and move on. That is basically the only reason the interviewer will give you a hint. Okay? So, if the interviewer is giving you a hint, you should slow down, think about what's going on, why are they telling you that, and you should really try to spend time to understand it. And if you don't understand it, you should ask. Okay? You can't just that's a hint, great, I'm gonna do it and then continue. No, you can't do it that way, because you fall into the same trap again, right? And that's exactly what happened over here. The reason you cannot return in the middle of a BFS is because you won't finish the the search. Like you won't finish it. The first time the condition is met, you're returning out of the entire BFS. That is the reason you cannot return a list of the items, right? That has nothing to do with if you're using a list or using a map, right? It has only to do with the fact that if you return in the middle, you won't finish it, right? So when the interviewer gives the hint in this case, I said something like, "Hey, are you sure you want to return here?" The hint is not saying, "Oh, don't use a list, use a map." The hint is saying, "Don't return, use a list to track something instead." Right? So if you don't understand that, you should be asking, because this is the exact same bug. Right? Again, I don't know if you noticed it, but this is the exact same bug you had before, except now it's a map instead. But it's the same difference. Right? So you have to realize that and slow down and see why they're giving you that hint. It's because you couldn't solve it the first time. Right? You didn't get it right the first time. That's what they had to give you a hint. Right? So if you got it wrong and they tell you, you can't just do the same thing again. You have to think about it. Just slow it down. Just like that.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. That's about overall the kind of major takeaways there. Any questions about the problem or about your performance?
So you're saying, so I make the same like mistake up here for the for loop to return the list of values. So
Yes.
so instead of writing at this one, should I just move this code like to here, right? Like outside after we process all of the node.
You have to move it to process all of the nodes, not just a node, not just a current node. The right now it's only the current node, right?
Oops. So that would be have to out of the while loops also, right?
Yes.
Oops. Yeah.
Yes, and I mean it's still wrong because this is wrong, but yes, this idea is correct now.
Mm.
You can't like this is not valid. The statement here.
So so do you have like any recommendation like so for this statement I need to check the current node and the distance in the hash map or not to initialize, like to put it in the hash map?
So again, so the idea is right, but you're actually writing it not correctly. When you say something in a hashable structure, you're saying, is this the key of a hashable structure? And your key is not a node distance pair. Your key is a
Oh,
distance.
oh, I see. So, okay, I got you, I got you. So this would be instead of the tuple current node and distance, it should be only like distance, right?
Yes.
If distance not in map, distance, okay, yeah. And do you have like any final feedback for me?
About this, I mean, the problem is the problem. You can search up on your own time. It's LeetCode number 863. It's just called all nodes distance escape binary tree. It's in the notes I'll send you. You can do it in your own time. You can do the full problem later, like with the real variation. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the lesson here is not about the problem. The problem doesn't matter at all. The real thing here is just a strategy, especially the strategy with how you take hints. Other than that, the technical
Okay,
stuff
yeah,
you can just learn over time.
yep, gotcha. Thank you so much, Leo.
Cool. Thank you. Anything else? Anything last minute? Otherwise, that's all for me as well.
Yep, I think that's all. Thank you so much for your time, though.
No problem. Take care.
All right, bye bye. See ya.
All right. That is all.